All right, everybody. How's it going? It's another Techno Saturday. Beautiful day here in New York City. The sun is out. Not too hot yet. And here I am in a tiny, cramped studio with poor ventilation and no windows. Who's in the chat? Axel was first. What's up? How's it going? Yeetsy's back. Kozeps is back. Yes, it's a early show. We had to make a little adjustments based on the availability of my guest today. Hey, Doug, nice to have you. Bright and early on a Saturday. I'm still waking up. I need another coffee. There's no interns around to go pick up one for me. What am I going to do? We do have interns here at 343 Labs now. It's cool. I'm trying to be nice and not boss them around too much. Anyway, enough about that. Let's bring it in. Welcome, everybody. It's always Techno Saturdays here on 343 Labs, 343 TV. Is it not really? It's not really 343 TV anymore. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. We used to be on when we started this during lockdown every day. We were trying to do like a TV channel style kind of a thing, but I'm the last man standing. Well, that's not entirely true. I'm the one that is on most of the time. And then we also have Chop Shop, our live feedback beat kind of sample challenge battle thing that Great Dane does. And we have our occasional guests coming through and that we live stream. For example, very recently, Anthony Rother was here in person, which is a real treat. We did kind of a podcast style with an audience thing. And on that subject, I think I saw when I posted on Instagram last night about this, someone was asking, where's the video of Anthony Rother? And that was a technical problem day. The audio went out of sync. It was crazy. And I promised I was going to edit the audio so it wasn't, totally out of sync the whole time. But come on, I'm not a professional video editor and I'm a busy guy. So it's coming though, I promise. I'm going to work on it today. That's what I'm going to do today after we're done here with my guest who I'm about to bring on. So anyway, due diligence, 343 Labs Music Production School. We have all sorts of great classes going on. We have our 1-year program. We have our master classes and our special events that we do, our free events to the public here in New York that are also, as aforementioned, streaming online occasionally. We also occasionally have paid events, and we'll come back to that in a second because I want to talk about what's coming up in the future. A couple cool things happening. But before we do that, let's finally bring on my guest who's waiting here virtually in the wings. It's Commissar Lag. What's up, man?
Woohoo! Thank you for having me.
This is what you like. You put your hands up. Put your hands up for Commissar Lag.
Hello to everyone. Yeah, I've been practicing because I'm one of those DJs who used to just go like this,
And now you're
I'm still not here. I'm still not fully Jesus pose, but I do.
Like you're not.
No. I think 2-3 more years before I go full pro.
Trumpets, cakes. Like you're not going to do any gimmicks like that, right? You just want to connect with the crowd on a personal level somehow, right?
Yeah. Although people do accuse me of gimmicks because I wear a shirt and tie.
Oh man, you know what? Jeff Mills still does that. That's not a gimmick. That's just looking sharp. What about I want to know you have an armband sometimes. What's that about?
Well, nothing in particular. There's
just another style thing?
It's not it's not a sign of belonging to anything. I mean, I hope it doesn't become a sign of belonging because then I'm gonna have to change it.
No, it doesn't. There's no political affiliation or meaning. It's just a look.
No,
I get it. And no, it's like I want to say it's kind of like a American turn of the century. I remember being these old timey waiters or bartenders that have these little armbands on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the style. You're kind of like
exactly.
It's a little post hipster, I think.
Yeah. Let's call it post hipster.
Right.
I'm a post hipster.
Yeah, I think so. and you've been on the show a couple times before. We did a feedback session last time, right? And that was a while back. How long? That was more than a year ago, at least.
More than a year ago.
And then the first time, you shared the music and you were talking about Reason, and that's more like what we're going to do today, right? But honestly, I think we're sort of winging it. I'll be, blunt.
We're completely winging it. So, yesterday, I had a track out yesterday under a different alias called Mackie Glutosi, aka Soft Glutoses or Glutai. I don't know how you translate it to English slash Latin. But it's a project that I do with a friend. Should I talk a little bit about the project and why stuff?
Let me get a couple things out of the way first. Now that we've started talking. But so, and what we're doing here at 343 Labs, and yeah, I want to get this out of the way because upcoming soon. And what is going on? This is like, there it is. Okay, so as I mentioned, we have a lot of guests coming through, and we occasionally we usually have free events, but occasionally have paid events. And this time we've got a ticketed event coming up with an artist from Ireland, Carrie. Are you familiar with Carrie?
Yeah.
Great. And she's all hardware, and she does a lot of her own sound design, sample-based sound design, and she has a master class that she's doing with us where she's going to talk about her workflow and her, how she works at the studio, but also how she goes out into the world and samples sounds and makes her music out of those sounds. And I think she's got more of like a electron kind of machine oriented work, and it's a thing that like I'm curious. I've always curious about. I like having guests on that do hardware stuff, but then when it comes to hardware, I get kind of I'm just gonna use my laptop again, But I'm looking forward to having her come and do her performance and break down how she works and how she does her sound design. So everybody, it's May 21st, 6:30 p.m. You can, if you're here in New York, you can come see it in person, I'll be helping. I'm going to be there with her. I'm going to be kind of a host and asking questions and things like that. And with the help of our trusty interns, we're going to run a live stream of it as well. But in order to get that live stream link, you still got to buy a ticket. It's inexpensive. You can there's a link in the chat if you want to go directly, or you can just look up the info on our website at 343labs.com/events. All right, so there's that is on May 21st, and also on May 21st, I'm going to be a guest on someone else's stream for the first time. I'm going to be a guest on Funk the Void's Beat the Buzz. Have you seen that?
I personally haven't, but I do know Funk the Void, and I'm a big fan since ages.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun, and he does a really good stream. And he's got it down, the whole Twitch thing with the subscribers and all of the gadgets and the interaction with the chat and all of that. Like that's another thing. I'm just like, I'm too busy to do that. But I think it's cool, and it's going to be fun to be a remote guest. I'm going to be in your shoes. I'm also just curious to know like what his technical setup is as a total streaming nerd guy. Like I want to know how he does the remote stuff.
So I can give you some tips later on.
Great. Well, off camera. Got it. Anyone else here new in the chat? Jaja 9000. Yes. You could. I'll allow you to call me Johnny today. Functor is back. What's up? Nice to have you. And all right, enough. Let's get back to you. Back to the reason we're here. So
yes.
You were saying.
Let's talk about me. So basically, when I started producing, one of the allures of electronic music for a guy who used to play the classical guitar and who used to listen to bands, where if there's a person in a band who has who's playing a guitar, every song has to have a guitar, because what would that person do? One of the allures was I can completely change my sound from track to track. I'm not like beholden or chained to any one thing. And I can reinvent and explore and all these things. And very quickly, the scene has taught me that this is punishable. Like, if you make music that's, you know what I mean? If you make music
yes,
that's like, all kinds of different things, the most consistent feedback I would get from people is, you don't really have a style. So back when I was going by Lag and releasing on Mord, and those labels, I basically did this thing where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do broken beats, that's for me, and I'm gonna insert vocals, that's for the people. That was my deal. That was my and then I stuck with that, and immediately as I started sending out demos, people were like, oh yeah, this is a real style.
Nice.
Now, what happened a few years ago, because as you are a witness, things tend to change in the scene. What's important tends to change. How things are distributed and how things are valued keeps changing. And a few years ago, I released like 5 records in a year. One of those records that was out on Rekids with X Coast was like, deemed record of the year in the region and everything, sold well and everything. But I don't think I got a single gig out of any of those records, which was depressing at first, But then, like, the meme of the guy like two different people saying nothing matters, and then one is depressed and one is happy. Like, I became the second guy, and I was like, okay, I'm free now. I can do whatever I want, right? I can do, because if it doesn't matter, if it's not the thing that brings you gigs, if what brings you gigs is like social media and, I don't know, cloud visibility. I don't know. I'm not. I'm too old to be certain of what brings you gigs. But at least musically, I can do whatever I want. So I still do quote unquote serious techno.
Okay.
Right. It's way slower when it comes to releasing. Like, I did another record with X Coast 3 years ago, and it might be coming out this month.
Jeez. That sounds like me. Honestly, there's tracks that I've been working on, or just I did a long time ago and didn't quite finish, and I wasn't sure what to do with, because I don't have, right now I'm not out there trying to get gigs. I'm doing music when I feel like it because I like it, or I'm on the stream. I think I told you yesterday, like, doing the stream sometimes is just a really good excuse to start a track, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, back to what you were saying.
In this particular case, the tracks are finished ages ago. It's just the process of finding a label, and then all the delays that come with the reality of vinyl pressing and all that thing.
Are you mostly trying to still do vinyl?
I'm not sure if it matters. In some cases, it does. Like, if I sign for someone who I really, really like and appreciate, I want that to be like a timepiece, right? That I can have in my hands. So I might even go out there and help financially with like putting it out or whatever.
Okay.
But I don't think it matters anymore. I think it's like, for a long time, I think in the scene there was this like, if it's physical, then there's a seal of approval, but it doesn't really mean anything. And I think people have caught on to the very fact that it doesn't really mean, if it's vinyl, that it's somehow superior to something that's digital only. There is still like mystique and some respect regarding the format, and I still buy records en masse. Like, whenever I can, I buy albums and releases and whatnot. But that's an interesting point, because I recently, in the past 2 years, most of the stuff that I've been releasing is kind of memey.
Yeah, you were saying
memey,
like memes, like kind of semi-serious, or
not egocentric, but referring to memes.
I find that now I think a lot of people who are very serious about techno, when they think about meme techno, would think about like hard techno on TikTok. You know what I mean?
No.
Not like that. You're thinking more like the sense of humor, the sarcasm, maybe the snark of like meme culture, the type of humor you see in these memes that people react to, but incorporated into your musical concepts. Yeah.
So there's one of my favorite people in the world is Conan O'Brien, and he has this thing of like, he says that there is magic in walking the fine line between stupid and smart.
Yeah.
And this is what I try to do. The thing is, only like a third of, or maybe even less of what I make these days is memey, but because there's such detachment from like seriousness about this, I felt okay about running a digital label for all this stuff, which means there's no obstacle between me making it and that being released.
No.
And so that just gets released.
Well, I think it needs to be, if it's that kind of direction, if it's meme related and it's in the moment, it needs to be instant. It needs to be, if it's sort of zeitgeist or whatever, and you're seeing, and that's what people are reacting to right now, it needs to be online right now, not 6 months from now.
No. Mr. Selway, this is timeless.
Okay.
This music is timeless.
Well, let's hear some of this timeless music. So let's just put your money where your mouth is. I actually should I play? I'm on I'm on SoundCloud right now. Is what we're.
I can play it from. I can play the track that we're going to talk about. We don't have that much music, so I can just go into it.
Okay.
Rather than spread the go wide, let's dive deep.
All right. So we'll just tease everybody. I got, I've just shown everybody your SoundCloud page with your Meki Gluteusi thing, but we don't have to. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
We don't. Enough. So everybody, you can go find this and listen to it for yourself. We're going to go straight to the man himself. Are you ready to start playing stuff right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Just a preamble. There's a label called "Projekty z specjalnym potrebami," which means projects with special needs, right?
All right.
So these are all like, again, I tried to have like two steps back. Back in 2017, I would like some track and see the potential to remix it, and then I would ask for samples, remix it, and never put it out. That was my way of like ensuring what used to be the thing in the scene, whereas you have to go out and see a DJ because they have a certain record.
Okay.
Right? And that worked perfectly. I'm now releasing those tracks slowly but surely, but basically that was one of my early ideas, and that's how I started walking this line between smart and stupid, right? So the formula is usually the lyrics are pretty dumb, but then the music like gives it this razor sharp meaningfulness, so to say. So like the first track that I released, there's a video of it, of me and UVB playing at the Exit Festival, and the track is saying, "You pretended that you loved me, but you took my mother's jewelry, returned my mother's jewelry." Those are all the lyrics, and they just go on and on. What? But it's like a deep vocal, the music is groovy. It just
that is on the line of stupid.
Yeah, sure. But the music is there as a counterbalance,
of course.
Right? And then recently, thinking about this stuff, there's a bunch of kids who, like, they're not kids anymore, but they used to make trap. Very funny, but again, like this fine line. The music was amazing, and I love their work, especially one guy called Jomla, whose lyrics are always kind of sharp and witty to
in your language.
In my language, in
right, so we're talking about Serbia here, yeah.
And I just sent him a message on Instagram, like, "Do you want to do something?" He came by. I started making. I was like, "Let's do something ghetto techy," in the sense of like the lyrics, he's a hip hop guy, so there's a lot of rapping about having sex,
right,
or whatever. And I was like, let's go that way. I always like ghetto tech. Well, I always like
people respond to that, like at a party.
Yeah.
It's funny, like some of the most ridiculous, explicit things, and everybody's getting down to it. And okay, yeah, it's fun.
So I remember starting to write a track, and he was behind me here, like 2 meters, 1 meter behind me on his phone. And I was like, "Oh, these hip hop guys are going to have to like spank him into actually doing some work." In reality, he was already writing lyrics, so he's very fast. So This is super fun for us to make. So, do we have the screen shared of the? Should I play the track?
We do now. Yeah, let's stop talking and start listening. Let's hear what it sounds like, and then cross your fingers that the audio's still working.
Do I bring up the volume a little bit for the listen and then bring it back?
Start it and I'll let you know.
Okay.
I think that's probably okay. Let us know in the chat if you can hear us talking, but let's stop talking and listen.
Sure.
I'm getting down.
odžačar, ali dupe popravljam. Daj da počistim ti dizne, nekad pljunem, nekad liznem. Bebo reci gde je kvar, ja sam grla odžačar. Daj da produvam ti cevi, posle pričat ćeš i kevi. Grla odžačar, ali dupe popravljam. Daj da počistim ti dizne, nekad pljunem, nekad liznem. Bebo reci gde je kvar, ja sam grla odžačar. Daj da produvam ti cevi, posle pričat ćeš i kevi. Da znam da čistim, yeah. Da znam da, šta? Da znam da čistim.
I don't even need to know what he's saying, man.
Da znam da.
Man, your reason racks are ridiculous.
Ja sam grla odžačar, ali dupe popravljam. Daj da počistim ti dizne, nekad pljunem, nekad liznem. Bebo reci gde je kvar, ja sam grla odžačar. Daj da produvam ti cevi, posle pričat ćeš i kevi. Ja sam da znam da čistim, yeah. Da znam da, šta? Da znam da čistim, yeah.
It's fun stuff. Definitely see a crowd of people getting down to this.
Yeah, it works. I mean, it really works. All of these really work in the club.
Nice.
Ja sam seks mašinen, grla klinen, buzen glancen.
How explicit are these lyrics, really?
Ja sam seks mašinen, grla.
Well, the opening lyric is, I'm the chimney sweeper of the throat, but I fix ass as well.
Okay. Okay. So not so explicit. No, yeah.
In linguistic terms, no.
Right.
In visual terms, very explicit.
Got it.
I mean, you know, if I'm uploading it to distribution, I don't have to check the explicit lyrics part. But if I upload it to YouTube, it's not for kids.
Of course. Yeah, because of the auto translation and everything, right? Like,
I mean,
and it's
usually we do stuff like I'll start with the music, and then he'll either have an idea or not, and then I push him based on the music towards doing something, you know. So like for example, there's another track that we've made, haven't released yet, which is pretty damn hard, but funky as well. And then that's called Belt. What's the belt whip and like not blindfold, but you know, something to tie someone with and stuff like this. Here with this super Detroity vibe, this was appropriate, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun, definitely. And I hear you know, it's still your style of techno. It's a little quirky, it's syncopated, it's funky.
It's got groove, which I'm like, it's my number one thing that I care about.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's what I noticed right away when I started hearing your tracks so many years ago. Is this guy has a real handle on the groove, for sure. It's not just the same old groove, right?
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. It's one of the main reasons why I stayed on Reason, because it has this thing called the regroove mixer, where you can very easily shift entire MIDI channels, like if they're going to be late or early, without the crackle of like changing the delay of the channel, or you can individually on individual channels add random timing to humanize it, like the 909 or 303 used to play in the 808. You can like you know, whatever, but I mostly just shift it and then play with accents as well, and that's basically that's sort of the core of the groove.
Micro timing on all of the individual drum hits and loops and things, right?
But like you get what I mean with. I mean, I at least think this is pretty well executed musically. So then the jokey stuff is a nice counterbalance to the like seriousness. I never got like the library card, reading party invitation attitude towards techno. I grew up both on Surgeon and on, I don't know, Mark Williams and like disco edits and hard groove and whatnot.
I feel the same.
It should be
like
fun.
At the height of my DJ career, when I was actually making money at it and like touring, and I quit my day job and I was getting enough gigs and putting out enough records that's how I played. Like I was never like super serious techno guy. I like the funny, funky, ravey stuff too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
And I think that's another reason. Like Christian and I, like I'm taste-wise a little more underground than him, and he's a little bit more like middle of the road. I'm not going to say totally commercial, but like we balanced each other pretty well, so we always had that tension of I was wanting me to do a little weirder synth sounds or try something new, and he was like, no, use the same kick drum again, it worked last time, like that kind of stuff. But I think I'm right there with you.
Just as an example, this is like another kind of thing.
This is another track?
Yeah, this is a completely different track, completely different vibe. So my thing, for me, the thing that connects all my tracks now is just the groove, like the way that it works, right? Uh-huh. So it's like, I'm just going to play like 10 seconds of this.
Do it. Is it playing? Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
No audio.
No, there's no audio from the. Okay,
you're trying to play it from your. Yeah, we didn't test this before. Right? Yeah. So
yeah. Okay, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Anyway, I mean, you're gonna hear that this track that I made in maybe 2, 3 to 4 years.
Is it online? And I could play it on my side.
No, it's unreleased. So basically. A few things that I wanted to show people. I think we already talked about this in Reason, and this is the thing that I'm going to miss the most when I switch to Ableton. You have blocks. So in the block, you can sort of lay out, this is my initial block, which is called Sve, meaning everything.
Okay.
And you sort of put like a bunch of things to do their thing. So for example, block
are they kind of like sub-arrangements, like arrangements inside of arrangements? Is that kind of, or
so they are loops. In the same way that in Ableton you would just get an entire like shelf of
a scene.
Loops of a scene. But the magical thing about this is if you lay it out here in the block like arrangement, you get this. And if I, for example, if I have this and I play it, it's going to play everything that's in the block. And if I choose to override it with something, it is going to play the other thing. But if I change my mind and delete it,
it goes back to how it was.
It goes back to how it was. So it's non-destructive if you are overriding what's in the block, which is crazy good for fast arrangement.
I was just going to say, like, you can try things out and like it's fast.
Exactly. The magic of this is if you make like the 4 or 3 different blocks that are basically like intro, main thing, break, main thing, intro, lay it out, you can get a sense for how the track breathes. Right? So like where it wants to go, rather than having this fixed idea of this is what the arrangement is going to be, and then trying to push down like a square down a round shaped hole. So you lay this out, you get this super fast idea of an arrangement, adjust towards it, and then the magic happens. So the stuff that really
lag magic
challenged me in this in working with Mr. Jomla on this project is basically it's way more melodic than what I used to do.
Sure.
And it also has a vocal, and that vocal needs to be understood on high volumes.
Yeah.
Right.
Which does that mean you have to mix it pretty loud, pretty upfront?
I have to mix it pretty upfront, and I have to mix the other stuff. No matter, like, I was in love with this melody. It's one of those, like, I don't know how I made this melodies, right?
Happy accident.
yeah, I'm really happy with it, and because I loved it so much, I want to push it, but then it clashes with the vocal. So you either have to change the arrangement so that they don't coexist in the same space, or you have to like pull it back a little bit in the frequencies where they would clash. Another thing is, for example, the bass line is pretty, melodic, and
it's not super deep and rumbly bass. It's like a funky, plucky bass.
Exactly. So one thing that a lot of producers that I will tutor or give feedback to struggle with is they remember, first of all, they remember the kick being this humongous force, which it is, but it's only humongous because it's played loud, so you get this physical sense of it. And then if they go back to the studio, they push the kick in front of everything. The kick is not music.
Right.
The kick is powerful, but it's not music. It's the foundation on which the music stands. It's only important that the kick gives you this pulse. Everything else is secondary, unless like there are exceptions. If you're listening to Pill Driver, if you're listening to Mark Cardipain changing the distortion on the kick drum and the reverb, then it's a statement.
Sure.
But in most cases, the kick isn't like this main thing.
Well, it depends on the genre. Like right now, kind of modern ravey hard techno has the big kick. That's like the main thing, right? That's a genre specific thing.
Is it though? People will not take out the phones to record the kick. They'll only take out their phones in the break and the drop.
Yeah, that's
the drop
true.
is the music.
It's the contrast.
And the break is the thing.
Yeah.
The kick is still there as like a counterbalance to music. It's around which the thing around which the music happens. I know what you're saying. It's way more upfront. Yeah. But still, in effect, the moment everyone goes up and like this is going to be special, it's the break, right? So the kick is going to be like pretty low, punchy. I'm always going for punchy rather than like a weight being pressed upon you. And the kick is going pretty low. And then the trick of the trade is usually that your bass line isn't nearly as low as the kick is. So people don't differentiate low register from low frequencies. Low register means it's played on a low octave, and then you can high pass that sound, and your mind is still going to perceive it as something that's quite low. And so a lot of times if I'm on Reddit, people will be asking, like, how do I get the low rumble or this or that? There's always like a place sculpted for a kick and then a place sculpted for the rumble. Depending on the genre, if you're making dubstep, the kick is going to be up and then the bass line is going to be down.
Right.
In kick, it's usually in techno, it's usually the opposite way. So this works. Right?
I mean, as busy as it is, I'm not losing the kick in the jumble of notes in the bass line, right?
Yeah,
and I hear the deep frequencies of the kick coming through. Not too loud though, right? I totally got you there. It's almost more about the mid-range groove in a way, or the upper bass sound frequencies.
With the highs.
Sure.
So one thing that I've started doing recently is, because I really love, I know that exactly. As I open a channel, one of these EQs is going to be here. I love these the Quasa EQs. They're like Neve simulations and Pultec simulations and all these kinds of things. So I'll usually like, this is the snare drum. I'm usually going to boost like a little bit of the highs. It opens the highs, like the high shelves and low shelves here are so powerful, and it's always like this is below 2 decibels, but it's pretty audible the way that it moves. But I've started also low passing stuff to make room for hi-hats and stuff like this. And same thing with hi-hats, like the one hi-hat, if I have more than one, they should be in different registers at least. So that they have like, because now there's like this, and the right, and they all sort of do exist, right?
Yeah.
it's a pretty simple, like if you have enough elements which are musical, it gets much easier to play with the arrangement without having to open up the filter, close down the filter. There's enough life as it is with just turning things on and off and occasionally changing the melody, like here, for example.
Cheeky spice there, yeah. So I'm listening to it, and there's not so many layers, right? You got your percussion, you got your bass, and when I say percussion, I'm also including the kick. Well, there's like a hi-hat, there's a loop, there's the snare, there's some other little things. There's the chords, the melody, the bass, the voice, occasional sound effects. But there's an awful lot of, and there's also a lot of effects in your racks. It looks like there's more going on in terms of layers of sound. There's more going on in the effects and the way you've got everything processed than there is in terms of layers of musical layers.
Yeah. So one of my the main thing that I'm obsessed with is like, so if I have a snare drum, how snappy is it? What's the reverb like? Is the reverb going to clash with everything else or not? Is it creating?
That's a pretty bright. It's got a it's not super high, but it sounds like it could interfere with the hi-hat a little bit. But I guess they're not happening at the same time.
It's a mid-rangey mix overall.
Yeah,
and somehow the vocal still stands out. Mm-hmm. Which is always tough, and it always I have to row test these a little bit so it works on every sound system. Mm-hmm. But it's really a challenge for someone like me who's been making. First of all, I've always had vocals in my tracks, but they were like rhythmical elements. They were not meant to be understood, mm-hmm. right? And I mean it's sort of. It's sort of an art form in itself now that I've started also working on some hip hop with some friends and stuff like this. It's really, really fun. I've learned some really cool tricks as well.
For like vocal mixing?
Yeah. There's such a nice little cool trick with Pro C where maybe that would be interesting to show.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
I'm curious.
So let me open up a completely different thing that's completely unrelated to this.
Not techno.
Not techno.
It's always not techno Saturdays. I really pigeonholed myself to like start a live stream series where there has to be techno and electro, right, involved. Yeah. But if there isn't, like, what am I doing? Like, do I have to start a whole new show if I want to do something like house or something else? Like,
so this would be useful for electro as well.
I think anything, right? Anything with you want a good vocal up front. I don't think this is genre specific.
So I found this on YouTube. Was it Starsky, the guy who's he's everywhere? So he has a pretty nice tip. Where you basically group all the music and then you EQ match it with the vocal.
Huh.
Does it make sense?
I gotta see. I gotta hear it.
So I'm actually gonna let me just wait for Reason to unclog itself. Okay, it's still stuck. Is it? Yeah, it works. Okay. So, please ignore everything going into red.
It's fine.
To the brims.
Internally, it's 32-bit float, right? Who cares?
Yes, of course. That was exactly what I was going to say. So I'm just going to do this really quickly. Like I already have it set up the way I like it, but I'm going to really quickly show you what I mean.
Yeah.
So I have the main vocal going into sidechain on the Pro Q4, right?
Okay. Let's double check that we actually have audio coming into the stream, by the way.
So.
Yep, it's working.
There we go. Let me just lower the volume a little bit, so we can actually hear what's happening. So the thing is, EQ match, sidechain. Match, go apeshit. Sounds perfect, right? This is what we want. Okay, so his trick is...
Wait, so run that, just talk that through again. Don't do it again. Just tell us again exactly what you did there.
So I have a sidechain from the vocal coming into the Pro Q, which is on the... all of the music, all of the sounds that I don't want the vocal to be clashing with, right?
All right.
And then there's the EQ match thing, which was introduced to Pro C so that, like, if I'm making Martin Garrix style EDM, and I know how that should sound, I get it close enough, and then there's an EQ match thing where Pro C goes like, well, you would have to slightly adjust this and that so that you get that sound, right? That said, we do something completely different, which is delete everything that's below 150 and delete everything that's boosted here. There's also, I think we don't need the low pass. And we don't need the... Is it this? We don't need this one. So all of these, which are sort of clashing with the main thing, we go 0. They're now dynamic. We go whoop, like this. And we set it so it's sidechain to the vocal. And then you can fine tune it to a certain degree.
Sure.
But
so you're basically, you're frequency dependently ducking the music to make space for the vocal?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like a super easy way to get this thing going.
Nice.
And then it just sits so nicely on the you know, it's only a few decibels of like going down, and again it's dependent on what the wording is. So as you can see, some of them are not even going off until you get a plosive or a sibilant. But in the end, you get these vocals that like really stand out without being disconnected from the music. They can lie down in the music, and it's not going to be a clash of that reduces the understandability. So that really helps with vocals, but you can do this with anything. If you have a lead that's sort of very important and you want it to really pop off when it comes in, you can do this as well. Or if you're making electro usually has a lot of vocals, you can also do that need to be understood. You can also do this because like Carve, Ducker, you don't know where the things are clashing.
Yeah, it's only just how it's doing the amplitude of the whole thing, right?
Yeah. So you tell it like, you know, go down here, but it's not really a thing that this precisely know where the problem is and then sort of sorts it out. And I'm going to play another track.
Okay.
A newer track of mine that has vocal, but this time the vocal doesn't play the role that it does in these tracks, meaning
it's not as upfront.
It doesn't need to be understood. It's just there in the way that I used to use it.
Okay.
Making all of these different tracks, you always go for, as you know, and as you probably tell everyone, you go for the music. Where is the music? What thing is the thing that people are going to remember? Like, are they going to remember the kick drum, or are they going to remember the hook or the vocal or whatever? And then getting that thing that is the music to life is the most, like, since I started experimenting and going different ways and different moods and different everything, it's so interesting to find new obstacles and find ways to go past them. And then you also get, like, you become a little bit more grateful for the thing that you're doing at the moment. So, for example, if I'm making hip hop, I can just we talked about this. I can just end. I can just kill the track.
The arranging is definitely different than.
Yeah, I don't have to think about 4, 8, 16. Obviously, to an extent, it has to be there, but then I can just break it apart if the storytelling of the track demands it. But because what we're making as techno is utilitarian for DJ sets, then it's more difficult to go that way, right? But now, if I'm adding a vocal here, then I can sort of just ignore everything that I've just shown you and just make sure that the emotion of the vocal is there because there's no semantics, right? Okay, so here we go.
I like that. This is a little bit more like, you know, the broken beat, the syncopated feeling. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's still driving in techno, but like, this is cool.
This is a combination of several moods and tracks. I had in mind old Rico records. I had in mind this one very particular Luke Slater track that has this alien vocal saying stuff, and then in the middle of the track, the bass line comes in. Obviously, I stole everything, so like unless I tell you, like no one has ever told me this sounds like Luke Slater, which would also be amazing. If someone said that, I would
be like psyched, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, I did it. That's weird, but cool.
Thank you.
It's messing you up when you're high, probably. You're like, what? Voices in my brain.
Kids don't do drugs.
High on life. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
YouTube not for kids.
If you run long enough.
Runner's high. Endorphins. No, I mean, that's whacked out. But the groove there is
Thank you.
Very cool. So what the hell's going on, track? What? That was a lot right there.
The bass line thing.
Yeah, now it's telling a story. The melody is happening, sort of. I mean, even though it's 2 notes, it's giving you some musical change. There's a nice contrast for the weirdness of the vocals. Funny, I'm listening to your mix downs and I'm thinking I still put too much sub in my track sometimes. You know? Nice. The vocals reminding me a little bit. There's a track from the 90s, Micronauts. You remember them? The French. They made this one crazy techno track with cut up, pitch shifted, pitch modulated vocals that has a similar energy. It's even more intense than this actually, but I gotta look it up. I used to play this track and I forgot what it's called. But it was the kind of track where you'd put it on in the middle of an otherwise straight ahead banging set and it would just set everything off because it was so wild.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway,
I like that.
This was just to prove I'm still my heart is still black.
You're still techno.
Let me very quickly play another one, and then I guess we're sort of closing to an end. I haven't I never have this sense if I said anything useful or not. If
no,
this is interesting.
I mean, I told you we were winging this a little bit. We're hanging out, we're talking, we're listening to music. You're showing us your reason stuff. If some technical stuff comes up, like the compression thing, great. You know,
Yeah. By the way, the previous track, and this is something fun that I can share. The vocal is a very, very famous, well-known singer that's pretty active right now, and the only beautiful thing that I can tell has come from AI is vocal separation.
Oh yeah, it's so great
tracks.
to be able to
just drop it.
Extract.
Exactly, and I abused Portal. So it's like so many tracks these days. I've done that with Portal, where I get the energy of the original vocal, but you cannot understand a word. Like, this is a proper song. It's not just screaming and shouting. But with Portal, you get this like whatever gibberish that's that does seem like this like voodoo thing. Speaking of voodoo, I really like this works so well in the club in the past few months. Again, no idea when these two are going to come out, but let's see. And like, my favorite thing about techno is if you play it well, if the sound is good enough, if there's enough sound porn, if there's enough ear candy and enough groove,
Yeah.
You don't need more than a few elements.
It's absolutely true. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated in your arrangement. It could just go.
Yeah. And if you do add more stuff, it should be a statement rather than just more stuff.
Yeah, it should be like get everybody's attention, or tell them something important, or make a cool musical change, or something substantial.
Yeah. So I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit.
I like the vocal loop in there. Just like a meaningless chant that has a vibe.
Yeah.
It can mean whatever you want it to mean. I think it's almost like it's saying enough or mina. You know, whatever. Doesn't matter.
I have this thing where I don't understand lyrics. For me, the vocal is just another thing that, like, it's an expressive instrument.
You know, my wife
get disconnected.
My wife was also a musician. She plays a violin, and she always has that thing of never understanding lyrics. It's just a sound.
Yeah, exactly. So I love doing it to others. Now here we go. This is what I mean.
Okay, get to the point. More drums.
If I'm adding a new element mid-track, it has to add to like the
more energy.
Something.
Take it up. Like that could have been in there from the beginning, but not waiting for this moment made it mean more.
Yeah. Thank you.
We got a question for you. Okay. When are you dropping the collabs with Voice Drone?
We're still making more.
Still working.
And I will occasionally go to London to play Unfold, and then we spend some time in the studio. I really enjoy doing this. Voice Drone is someone who knows a lot about music. Unfortunately, that means that we have so many I'm not going to say distractions, but like we go off in different directions. Like we're going to start, like he's very much into breakbeat, and I used to be into breakbeat, like Evil 9 kind of stuff, Adam F and stuff like this.
Sure.
No, Adam Freeland, not Adam F. We're into breaks, we're into dubstep, we're into this and that. So like the last time I was there, we made a deal like, okay, let's just make 4 to the floor techno. Let's finish an EP, and then we can
Then you can get crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, everything we've made so far, I'm super happy with. But for me personally, there's this feeling of disconnect right now, where if I make a track that really works, and if I play it in the club, like for example, this track really works in the club. Sure. I've had that for previous releases where I do something, I know that every time I play it, there's going to be a reaction, and there's always a reaction. There's a track of mine called Colibri, which I still don't know how I made it. I don't get, like, if I work hard enough and if I get in the zone, there's this moment where I enter this like state where it doesn't, like, the track leads me into what it wants to become rather than me like making decisions, right? I don't get how I made that track, and it's weird, and I understand that it's weird, but every time I play it, people go bananas, and always at the same moment. It's like, if you play it, you would know it's somewhere like in the middle. There's a bass drop, and there's a pullback on the mid-range, because the mid-range in this track is where the onslaught is. So removing the kick drum and bringing it back doesn't really do anything. Removing the mids does do something, and it really goes off every time. But there's a disconnect from what I feel the track does and the track is, and how often it gets played, and if it gets played at all. For example, I was signed up for a slice.
I'm tempted to just play the track right now because you talked about it so much.
If you play it, you have to play it, like, you have to play the entirety.
Oh, so there's right. We don't have time for that. Oh my God, that's loud. Okay, so. We'll let everybody else do it. I'm just showing everybody this is the track. Colibri.
Yeah. If you want to play it later, that makes sense. So every time I feel really good about a track, for example, the one with Voice Drone that we finished, I'm always happy when I play it, but then I don't know how it's going to be perceived when it's actually like out in the wilds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it. It's gonna be done this year for sure, sooner than later. When it's gonna come out, I have no idea. Like I said, there's one release I've been waiting for 4 years to come out, and I still don't know when it's coming out. And it's a collaboration, and again, 4 tracks that every time I play them, people react.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like so yeah. I'm thinking of starting my own. Like I said, it was easy to start my own label with projects with special needs because it's not serious. So I don't have this thing of like, oh, it's not on vinyl, so it's less valuable. But now I'm at a point where if I start making serious techno, if I think about it, I will end up in a place of anxiousness because
don't think about it.
I enjoy making it so much. And I have so much stuff, and I have so much unreleased stuff. I did a bunch of tracks with Radial. Again, they work in the club. I can't get a label to sign it.
So you just got to put it out there.
So, yeah, I'm thinking of like...
That's what I need to do.
I need to open up a label so that I can eliminate the anxiousness that goes with the making of the music from my life.
Yeah.
Because right now, just depending on others for releasing, and also whether or not the release is actually gonna reach people, I'm not sure how that works anymore. So
how to get people to pay attention to you in a universe of overload of music, right? It's tricky.
Yeah.
But you have a scene, you have a following, you get gigs. It's a bit more localized, but you also have some international presence. I mean, I think a lot of it is just for this kind of music, getting it to the people who will also play it. I would prioritize that.
Is it?
I think so.
So
no?
my thinking in this is, from my experience, people who attend parties. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I started dividing people into guestless people and ticket-paying people.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's always been a thing.
If I'm making music for guestless people, they will play it, they will know it, and stuff like this. But if I get booked just based on targeting the guestless people, the people who actually pay for the ticket, who are not so deep in the scene, will not come. But if I do stuff that I target ticket-paying people, then the people who are like in the guest list group will usually be like think that you're not there because what you're doing is not hitting them. So what's my experience in the last like 2 years is that every time I get booked at a new place, with a few exceptions, they will be surprised at how well it's doing. Like they'll be like, I didn't expect, I didn't expect this. And it's because like I'm thinking more about how can I communicate this to the people who are actually gonna not only pay for the ticket but dance in front of me and get this. So I think the ways of like, and the ticket paying people don't really Shazam as much. Some people will do.
Yeah.
It's a very rough. Like I've had people take offense to the definition, but it's just for illustrative purposes. Please don't take offense, and don't. I don't have a Twitter, but don't don't add me.
Right.
It's a thing of like. I don't think Shazamming is a thing as much. I don't think like sending out music to DJs changes how you are perceived by the people who actually give the financial blood to our scene. So there are people. Let's put it this
logical.
way.
That's logical.
Yeah. So me sending it to like DJs is less important than that music being seen by those who pay for the tickets. And these are two very different venues, both of which require like full-time jobs and very careful laying out of things for for this thing to reach them.
Yeah.
And this is the conundrum that I find myself in, especially because I'm making all different flavors of music, and it seems that we're in the point of history of music where every flavor needs to have its own avenue and its own sort of chain of channels, so it actually reaches the people that it's supposed to, right? But again, just to go back, it doesn't matter. So
it doesn't matter. Maybe
look,
you just need to keep
I
doing
end
it
up
and
in a
make lots of
situation-
cool music.
If I end up in a situation where I can no longer sustain myself from DJing, I'll just get a day job, and I'll be happy as a pig in shit without having to think about any of this, and just make music and release it, and that's it. But right now I'm still actively thinking about these things, and but it doesn't get in the way of me really enjoying making these tracks. It's just when they're done.
Maybe you need someone else to take them off your hands. Like you need like a third party. Like not that you need to pay a business manager or something, but you just need to like, here's all my music, do something with it. Like just get it out there, and then you move forward.
Yeah,
I feel like I could.
That would be perfect.
I make the music and I'm like, now what? So you need someone to take on that, perhaps, so you can concentrate on just being good at what you do.
Yeah,
I guess that is kind of a manager.
Here's more sand in the Sahara.
Okay.
But that's what it is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's so much. It's deep.
This is such good sand. I promise you.
We're gonna wrap it up. I know you need to get going.
Yeah, I need to get
found
going.
the Micronauts track, and I know you can't hear it, but I want to play it for everybody. And I'm gonna talk. We can talk over it before we say goodbye. It is absolutely nuts. I'll send it to you so you can hear it off the stream. But I used to start sets with this when I knew I was going to go hard, or I used to drop it in the middle of a set when I felt like things need to be broken up and people need to be woken up. And it was always intense. And anyway, the reason why I thought of it is the last track you played, the things you did with the vocals, and I think you did time stretching and some pitch bending of them, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's going on heavy duty in this track by the Micronauts. And for some reason, I think people aren't hearing it, which is really kind of funny. Why isn't the audio going through? I'm going to have to do this again because I talked it up. Let's see. Where did it go?
There we go.
Wait, you heard that?
Yeah.
Huh. Crazy. All right. So anticlimactic. The intro of this is just insane. So I have to do it over again. All right. Let's hit that. Here it is. You hear it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is insane. I feel like if I were to start DJing again, I'd probably pull this out because it's so much fun. And everybody can tell me, you're crazy. What are you talking about?
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know this track?
No, but I keep telling people this: if everything is falling apart, it's alive. If everything is as it should be, you no longer care about it because it's as it should be. So our brain just moves on to the next thing. But from the first second, you can hear that this is a track that people are going to dance to, because you have to move your body to adjust to the incorrections of timing between the sounds, right?
I agree. There it is. Although you can hear what it's saying a little bit better than yours, but... Anyway, I don't have time to play the whole thing, but somehow your track reminded me of that. So, anyway, we're done here. Let's get out of here. I need to have some lunch. You need to get ready for your gig. You're playing somewhere tonight, right? In your city.
Yeah. I'm doing a DJ Strana Muzika, which is another thing which is like punishable, being more than one thing. I do Commissar Lag, which is techno, and I love doing that more than anything else in my life. But then I have DJ Strana Muzika, which means DJ foreign music. It's like a regional thing. It's a joke in itself, but it basically means I'm playing everything but techno. So I'm doing a few hours of that to mess with some people's minds, and I'm really happy we got to do this again. Thank you for having me. Thanks to everyone who joined in, and I send kisses to all of your followers and patrons and whatnot. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
and hopefully see you in the club.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I guess if you're where he is, go to this party. It's probably going to be off the hook. And yeah, let's wrap it up. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks to Commissar Lag. Really great to have you on again. And to everybody out there, see you next time. Adios.